I think, 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 therefore I am. I think, I think, I think, I think, I think, I think, cogito ergo sum. Oh, look, there is a big sign this time that says you are now live. I had not seen that before. And so I suppose that means that it is a thing. I am really live. So good morning to ya. Oh my gosh. I am so elated. I'll say it that way. I am happy and elated to be here, um, and to be able to share, come to you today. And oh my gosh, it is yeah. This for me is this is the way I start my day, and I'm just so happy to be here with you. I have had sometimes my days are just so yummy. I don't know about you, but yesterday I had great conversation. I did yoga. And then last night was the first night of a class that I'm taking from Upchurch, and that was good. And now I get to come in here and be with you. Now, I will tell you, my desk is a mess because, of course, I had class last night, and that meant that I picked up all of my stuff, took it into the kitchen at the table, and put it down there. And then did my class and my dinner and all that stuff at the same time. And then this morning, I picked up all of my stuff again and brought it right back in here to my office and set it down. And so I still have not been able to straighten out. I really should have done that before. But I like to be on by a certain time so that I can be off by a certain time. So bear with me. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. And I am, like always, just excited about seeing what it is that Spirit comes up with for me today. I had, of course, some interesting things that came up in my meditation and in my writing because, I work on my book before I come into here. And I have been in this editing stage of this book for I don't know how long. And so every time I revisit it, it's almost like I'm, sharpening things and putting things in different, adding to, because I love, how I love a good story. I love a good story. And so I feel like I'm usually looking for another way to talk about something or illustrate it. And so, this morning was no different. I get on there and I'm working on a piece, and there is this desire. Ooh, it came to me in, oh my gosh, stuff is so good. It's so good. There's this desire to kind of move into spaces that seem like, as Bio would talk about it, he talks about cracks. And he says that there's energy, there's life forms that dwell in the cracks. And I don't know about you, but when I think about this idea of a crack, of a space, I used to think about in terms of there being a wedge or a gorge that is, has been created between man and his environment. But when I think about cracks as it relates to life, right? Whether we're talking about whatever we're talking about in life, there's these spaces where it seems that spirit, our ancestors are, just kind of like existing right there, and they want to just whisper, whisper, whisper. Like, I can't come into your field of vision, but I got something that I want to say. And so that energy, for me, I want to be able to pay attention to it, to hear it, to acknowledge it. Yeah, it to me is such a good and a rich perception. A good and a rich, knowing. And so this morning when I opened up an email from Bio, and it's an email that goes out, I'm sure, to all the people who have ever subscribed or listened to his stuff, just to be able to be reminded about the energy in the cracks, the people in the cracks. We have been taught in this country, and y'all know I need to share my daily guides. Yesterday I went down the path and didn't even get the daily guides off until half an hour in. And I was like thinking to myself, I need to be a little bit more disciplined, but not, right? Sorry, not sorry. But when I think about the things that inspire me, that really, there are people who inspire me, people who, Dr. Brown inspires me. There are people who really speak to things that whenever I hear them, I think to myself like, good. There are others among us. And I hope that I am that person for you, that I stir something up in you or make you think about it in a different way than perhaps you may have thought about something before. For each and every one of us, it is, what are we doing for one another? What are we speaking to in one another? Am I waking something up for you? Or are you feeling that stirring? So, whatever the case may be, I think that we all need to walk around and, not with I will tell you, people co-op stuff so quick. We started talking about being woke, and all of a sudden it's a catchphrase that people are using and going around and making it seem like whatever that is about. Y'all don't let people take you off of the mission or the vision because they've polluted it or watered it down with bullshit. Yeah, just figure out how to stay in on the wavelength. Once you find it, stay there, not based on other people's perceptions about it, but based on what you bring to it. One of the things that I know is that for me, a lot of times when I think about even this spiritual journey, this spiritual walk that I take, I think about it in terms of I don't let somebody co-opt my definition of how God engages with me because it doesn't fit somebody else's paradigm. People have a tendency to shrink. It's as if we have this dumbing down of society based on what somebody else can perceive or not perceive. You owe it to yourself to set to set your own bar, to take the doggone top off if need be, to fit where it is that you're going, rather than trying to shrink so that other people feel comfortable or understand or comprehend where you're going. for me, I will tell you that if you can't swim in the deep water, stay in the shallow end. But it's not up to me to come back to the shallow side so that you feel comfortable. Like, oh, I've been left behind. No, 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 no. Figure it out. Figure it out. Catch up. That reminds me of a joke. That joke that was in Pulp Fiction, where the girl was talking about the mama tomato and the papa tomato, and they had baby tomato walking behind them, and the mother kept trying to get the baby tomato to keep up, and then finally the father stopped, and he turned around and he goes back and he stomps on him and he says, "Catch up." It was a silly joke, but tell him to catch up, don't it? Stop dumbing down. Or because somebody will tell you, oh, her, what they do is they try to color you like with a paintbrush, like saying, oh, because she's talking about spirit and you don't see spirit, that somehow something must be wrong with her. No, something is wrong with you, right? It's something that you are not getting. It doesn't mean that I need to change. And that's one of the problems that people in our community have so often, is that we're so easily, really, that's not the way it goes. Instead of valuing what is uniquely ours, whether it is a cultural piece, whether it is our hair, whether it's our bodies, we are so busy trying to morph and change into what we think somebody else might desire or want, that we lose touch with what is our own truth. Damn it, catch up, right? We got to stop this, because we are not shapeshifters in that regard, right? Let us be, if we're going to shapeshift, let us be transformers rather than trying to fit into somebody else's mold. Transform this mug. Oh, and so I love, love, love when we allow ourselves, give ourselves permission to soar, if that is what is called for. Soar. You are not made to be in pecking after somebody else's thought systems. Oh, great one. You need to recognize and know. And this is not, y'all trust me and trust and believe when I say these things, it is not trying to put anybody else down. I am not in the business of trying to separate myself or exalt myself above other people. That is not it. When I'm saying catch up is because I know you can catch up. I know that you have it within you. The thing is not to dumb down. It's rather to pull up. And so a lot of times what we do is rather than recognizing that the lift is possible, we start playing small. Y'all, that's not the way we do it. Could you imagine if the thing just popped in my mind is if they kept lowering the basket on the basketball court because, some people were saying, I think that's a little too high. Well, come on, catch up. So, y'all, today, hump day is catch up day. Catch up. Catch up, catch up, catch up. So I am going to, I don't know why it's something feeling strange to me today. Let me breathe in this space for a minute. Thank you, Spirit, all of y'all, for being here with me now. So I am going to read out of the daily guides for today. And the daily guide is taken from the Science of Mind magazine, which I'm doing every day these days. And it's interesting because as the month winds down, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's next? Who's next? Whose energy comes in here. And one of the things, like, I know that reading, writing stuff has the ability to transform. And so in my bringing in somebody else's voice into my conversation, I am either like allowing this to elevate, or to just kind of, slide to the left, slide to the right, whatever it is. I'm just allowing. I'm in a space of allowing. So, with that, I want to just say, let's move together and see what it does. You guys, for some reason, y'all know I spent time and money this weekend getting my my internet souped up a little bit. And why did I look at that? Okay, y'all. I'm present. Here we go. Okay. So, good morning, Val. Yes, I have inspired you all your life. Yes. Hey, Winnie. Good morning. Good morning to you. I'm honored. I'm honored by that. It is, yeah, yes. Cool. My girlfriend's mother just passed, and I just saw that on the thing. My girlfriend passed though already, and so her mother, if you want to talk about it in that regard, is joining her in this other space. And so I am I'm just, y'all, life is amazing. Life is amazing. And so as we make these transitions, as we lay these bodies aside or down, it doesn't necessarily mean, period, the end. Oh my gosh, I tell you, I am hopeful for all of us. So let me read this so I could get this out of the way. We could see if there is something in here juicy for us. And if not, we'll just lay this aside too and keep it moving. Okay, so this is out of Science of Mind magazine, written this month by Marilyn Louise Leo. And the title of it is a mystic difference different from the rest of us? I don't know why I was trying to read that as something else. Is a mystic different from the rest of us? So is it? And what qualifies a person to be a mystic, right? That's such a juicy thing, right? All right, so here's the first quote. Deep within us all is an amazing inner sanctuary of the soul, a holy place, a divine center, a speaking voice to which we may continually return. And that is by Thomas Kelly, from a book I'm assuming called Excerpts, Great Mystics. Now, here's the funny thing. I'll never forget watching Duvall, I think his name, Robert Duvall, in The Apostle, and how that man went down to the water and he got in the water and he baptized himself, the apostle. And I was thinking to myself, like, go ahead on with that, right? Because, what gives you, is that something that to be bestowed upon you by somebody else? Or is it you taking up, ordaining yourself to do what you do? Does somebody come in and say, oh, that wasn't a call, Sandra, you wasn't called, that wasn't what that, I don't need permission, damn it, I didn't need permission, darn it, my audacity is all the permission that I need. So, let me Let me delve back into this here. Let me read this. Then Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind says, a mystic is not a mysterious person, but one who has a deep inner sense of life and of his unity with the whole. All right, all right, all right. All right, so here's what Reverend Louise wrote. Recently, I was presented with the question about mystics and mysticism. So I put my little gray cells to work, and then I thought, a mystic doesn't need to stop and think about answers about life and nature and being. A mystic contemplates and knows the answer. A mystic contemplates and knows the answer. These questions deserve more intuitive thought. What is a mystic like as a person? I agree with Holmes that although some mystics may live alone as a hermit might, most appear to be just like you and me, but they are active teachers of light. They do not need to look different other than perhaps having a continence of bliss. Inner joy fills their world. In most cases, though active in human activities, they are perhaps a bit more patient with circumstances and people. They are consistent with their thoughts and constant in their beliefs about who they are, and they live in that awareness. There is an aura of peace or tranquility that exudes from such a person. They are optimistic, sincere, honest, and loving. They live without fear, for they know there is nothing to fear. They are not necessarily psychic, but they might be, and they have an inner knowing about life. They reside in joy. The affirmation that she puts with this is, as I dwell in the infinite presence and express the highest degree of love, joy, abundance, and peace. So there we have it. Her idea estimation of what a mystic is. Cool beans. And knowing that now, what? Here's what we do. What was it the Buddha said? Was it the Buddha that said this? Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. You still do what life puts before you to do. That's one of the things I used to always tell people is, do what is before you to do. Instead of trying to make it seem like we gotta, take off and do something different or something extraordinary. Do what's before you to do. As a matter of fact, God always knows how to get to you, right? Knows right where you are. So He's not going to put your whatever it is that you need for your life. He's not going to put it over. That's one of the things, right? We could riff on that for a few days, like we could say, oh, my Mr. Right must be someplace else, or my Mrs. So-and-so must be right, over there or someplace. We always make it seem like there's someplace to go or someplace to do. Like God doesn't have your address. And so I used to tell my girlfriend all the time, oh, your Mr. Right is not going to come knocking at your door. Get out of the house, right? That's what I would always say to her. Get out of the house. Go somewhere. Do something. But however, what I do know is that I get brothers knocking on my door. Whether it's, I don't know what it's for, but they knock on the door and, I just stand back looking like, who knew? But I'm not saying that they were my Mr. Right, because if they were my Mr. Right, they wouldn't still just be knocking at the door. But what I'm saying is that, Mr. Right now can knock at your door anytime. He don't even have to be somebody you know. And so when we have all of these ideas and suppositions about how things have to work, sometimes we just got to get out of our own way. We've got to get out of this idea that I know what it's supposed to be. I know that I've got to, here's the other thing that we do. We make it sound like everything has got to be so hard, so difficult, right? A healing for some people in their mind, they have it fixed that it can't be instant, right? Or we think that our enlightenment takes some work, or is, in one of these spots in Marianne's book, this woman and this man seem like they're wrapped up and they're holding one another. And she says to him, she was like, "Oh my God, I thought you'd never get here." And he says to her, "I know, that's what took me so long," right? Because thinking makes it so. So when you have this idea that there is something, it's got to be on the other side of this, or it's got to be more difficult than so. We have these ideas that it takes all of this work. Sometimes it's just that we need to just drop our resistance to it happening now. Now, faith. Remember that? So the idea that there has to be something extraordinary. I'll get enlightened after. Ooh, y'all. Ooh, I'm gonna tell. I love to take classes. I love to teach classes. I talked about that yesterday, right? And one of the reasons why I do that is because what I know is that sometimes these things, it stirs up something in me. So I love the interaction of a class. I love to get in there and hear what other people are saying, this, that, and the other. But one of the things I know is all of these books you see, and I got books all around me. I got books. But it's really interesting because, we do all of this. It seems like we're seeking. But one of the things that came to my recognition is not that I'm looking for anything, right? Everything is I need already given to me. When people ask me how I know the things that I know, it is because I'm an open book and I'm listening at the same time I'm talking. I've gotten so good that, sometimes y'all will hear me say, "Oh, this idea just hit me," right? It just, it comes in and it just like, and sometimes it's just like a flash of recognition. That's the way spirit works with me. That's the way intuition works with me. And let me follow those breadcrumbs. And it doesn't always mean that I'm going to get all the information and answers right then and there. But what it does is it leaves me these little breadcrumbs of information everywhere I go. So a lot of times when I'm reading these books, books can be props. When you think about it, I can pick up Louise Hay's book. I just had this out for this beautiful girl. Beautiful young woman. I don't know. She's younger than me. That I was talking to yesterday, and I pulled this off of my shelf. But what I know is that I don't need to ask Louise anything. Louise, what she did was she gave me a roadmap. And then she says, "Oh, okay, here on this roadmap, I'm going to show you this, that, and the other." So now what do? Now I pick it up, and it tunes me into a frequency. Right? She goes through and she chronicles all of these illnesses and says what the cause of them are. But any one of us can have that same access to information. But what the problem is here's the other thing that you find out. I want to tell y'all who that was. Yesterday, I talked a lot about some of this ability to be grateful, is what came to my mind. So yesterday, not yesterday, but in this particular conversation, it was this idea that comes up. I was doing something, I forget what it was. And the guy told me, he says, I don't need your money, but you do need to pay me. And I was like, oh, okay. And he says, because he says, people don't tend to value things that they don't pay for. Now, I would tell you because I got a friend of mine's who will go to the doctor, and whether it's a doctor or a therapist, she'll go and she'll say to them, she was like, oh, my girlfriend just told me that. Well, then why are you here? Oh, because when she says it, I don't believe it. But because I'm paying you, because you got this degree behind your name, because you are such and such, I believe, it shows that there is that belief. We all need to develop our ability to hear what is all around us all the time. I'll tell y'all, people will get on a plane, go from here to South America to drink some, to smoke some stuff, to drink something, to do something, just to get the same kind of information that they could have got had they just went over there to that tree and wrapped themselves around it and listened. But we make it seem like it's gotta be we gotta climb, we gotta crawl, we gotta figure out how to get it, because otherwise we don't think that we have access to it, because you don't already know your oneness with all that is. And the moment we get a clue that we have never been outside, we don't have to die and leave our bodies in order to be present with the Lord. We can be present with the Lord right here and right now. You are never outside of it, because it is the very what you are. It is the it that you are. And so when you start recognizing that it is all around us, you just have to open your mind to it. And then you start to question, people will start questioning me, well, why wasn't I open to it? Well, somebody told you. Somebody told you. No, don't pay attention to that. My brother, the one that passed, Herm, he is such a, I love Herm. He, when he was a kid, he used to always talk about being visited by little green people, right? He was always talking about how they would come into his bedroom, or they would have these conversations with him. And Herm was special because he had, he was artistic. He was, whether it was music or art, there was this part of him that was in touch with other stuff. And sometimes those kinds of people are driven to self-medicate because they can't embrace the information that is coming through them, because everybody talks to them as if there is something inherently wrong if they can see things that other people can't see. And that's one of the reasons why this tendency to marginalize art and artists is such a dangerous thing for our society, because at times we need to figure out how to have the conversations that we have, how to breathe life into the things that speak to us. I went to a book signing. This woman, I can't think of her name, Okafo. But anyway, she wrote these. She talk about African futurism, right? She wrote these books about this amazing. I want to say it was the Venti series. I'm not sure. I can't remember what her series of books was, but she wrote all these books. And when I went to her book signing, I asked her, which kind of reminds me of the young lady I talked to yesterday. I asked her how it is that she discovers or how she writes these characters. I asked her if they come to her and speak to her whole, like come to her and tell their story, or does it feel as if she's creating something? And would you believe these comments just came up? So I was trying to get a feel for where it was coming from, and she made it, like literally they just kind of walk into the room with her and they speak to her, and she says, and sometimes you got to fill in areas or cracks, but to have an artistic person or a person who has a different way of hearing or listening or engaging, to me ought to inspire all of us to stop disregarding the things, even if it's our children that are experiencing, stop disregarding them as if they are not real, and invite them into the circle, invite them into the space. Wonder if you made up your mind to have a council of elders who would basically advise you or who would speak to you, and then to learn how to have a conversation with them. Wonder if you allow that into your space, what you would open up to. Many of us have so much fear in us that we can't be open to another possibility or another conversation. And so we shut it down without giving it the audience that it deserves. And so in trying to find or tap into what is trying to come up through us, we've got to have the courage to sit in this space and be in a space of allowing, rather than always trying to suppress, always trying to, ooh, that couldn't have been, or, right? When you get an impression, when you get an image, when you get something, sit with it. Ask it what it has to say, in which ways it is trying to inform you, and then allow that to happen. You guys, I am going to, I said yesterday, and it is my intent to start a new book with you guys, Atlas of the Heart. But of course, I need to order the book, right? I still have not gotten the book, and so for right now, one of the things that I do is I pick up whatever is here before me and see what it says. Not that I'm doing this that often. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It is so good. Let me read. I want to read something to you. Oh my gosh. I love Marianne Williamson. Have I said that to y'all before? And one of the things that I know is that, you know what? I don't know. I don't know how much her process is like my own. I do not know. But what I do know is that she opens herself up to be used by Spirit. For me, one of the things that I try to do, and y'all notice about me is I want to be in a space where I can listen. I can listen and be able to hear what it is that is being said. So to that end, she wrote this book, and this book here is called Enchanted Love. And I absolutely love this book. And it has like little divergent stories in there. And Yeah, it's got all these little divergent stories in here. So let me share this with you. Um, she says it was messy when we were born into the body, and it is messy being reborn into spirit. Growth is a detox process as our weakest, darkest places are sucked up to the surface in order to be released. That's good, right? Often, upon seeing the weakness in each other, we have the tendency to go, yuck, and walk away on some level. How often does that happen to us? Right before, yeah, right before we allow ourselves to really fall for the beauty in somebody, we start looking for their flaws. Like we need to see their flaws. And because we're flawed, we think that everybody should be flawed. And we don't know that their flaws are they're part of their beauty. Let me read what she says though. But often it is not a change in partners, but rather a change in perceptions that deliver us to the love we seek. When we shift our view of the purpose of intimacy from serving our own needs as we define them to serving a larger process of healing, then an entirely new opportunity presents itself to us. Yes, I think that our wounds have been brought forward not to block the experience of love, but to serve it. It is in the forgiveness of our weakness that we are healed of them. And the tenderness of a forgiving heart is a tenderness that will ultimately heal the world. So sometimes we think that relationships, love, and all of this other stuff is about, this fulfilling of ourself and our desires. But wonder if it is about so much more. Wonder if what happens in our relationship is what needs to happen in the world. That the healing of a relationship is the healing of a relationship to the world and to God. And to the extent that we can accept other people and their faults and flaws and all that other stuff, that to that extent we can accept ourselves, but then it helps us to see the goodness and the beauty in everybody around us. You guys, we have to learn how to move out of some of the thought systems that we have been taught for so long. This idea of, people talk about, to me, at times, this idea of perfectionism, like, they call it black excellence, or they want to make it seem like somehow things as they are is not enough. It needs to be excellent. Well, wonder if you found out that your mediocre to somebody else looks excellent. I mean, have you ever hey Everett, good morning. I'm sorry, these, my screen is not working such that I can see stuff when it comes up on here. But good morning to you. I hope you're still on here. But this idea that somehow, we get stuck in this thing of trying to, even me, I'm editing this book, and I've been editing this book for the longest, not realizing that even in as it stands now, what I'm perceiving as needing work might already be more than enough. I may be keeping that blessing from somebody, holding on to it, trying to fashion it into something more better, when as it is sufficient. And so we get caught up in this endless loop of perfectionism, trying to do and redo, trying to produce and introduce something that is already enough. And so you keep polishing. Wonder if all the B's and C's that you were given, right, was really kind of made to dissuade your even trying. Like somebody saying, get back down. You know, it has happened to us, it's happened in our community over and over again. And so we've gotten the idea that as we are not enough. And so wonder if that we learned that not only are you enough, you were born more than sufficient. That in your pure being as you are, it's enough. And so what to me seems like it could happen is that we stop living in this denial of self. Remember at the end of The Wiz, I told y'all that I just watched The Wiz again the other day. So I am so like into these images out of The Wiz. I watched it the other day, and at the end of The Wiz, there's the scene after Mabel, I forget what Mabel's name is, but she does the song, "Don't Nobody Bring Me No Bad News." And then, Dorothy pulls the fire alarm and water comes out, and then she passes, and then can't you see a brand new day? Everybody's dancing around, everybody's happy, everybody's excited, all of that stuff. And then after they go through all of that, they start coming out of these ugly suits, right? Because life beats us down like that. Life makes us feel ugly and unworthy. Life has had people living way less than what is possible for them, because over and over again we've heard, stay in your place, that you're not good enough. Don't nobody want to hear that. We've told over and over again. We've been criticized, we've been pushed down, suppressed. We've been some of everything. And so even so in that, we have our own judgments about our own gifting. And so wonder if this ability to love and be loved, to accept ourselves in ways that we haven't before, is like giving ourselves permission to live fully in this moment. And so Everett says, by bringing our best and purest heart to the table, you strengthen the greatness of others. Yes, and so, sometimes one of the things that we do, though, is we are so busy trying to conform to what other people believe. I can't tell you how many people I have heard, and it just breaks my heart sometimes, when people are still in this thing of trying to make their parents proud, right? Oh, I just want them to be proud of me. Oh, I just want them to say this, that, and the other. Or somebody who has accomplished all of these accolades and all these things, and yet still cannot get their parent to acknowledge what they have managed to achieve or to do. And so there's still this striving, trying to fit into what we think somebody else wants us to be, or what will make them proud. I got a friend of mine who hasn't even met his father because he feels like he hasn't accomplished enough to go and meet somebody who didn't even, as a father, have the decency to reach out to their own son. And somehow he thinks he's not enough. Y'all, at a certain point, love has got to transform our perception. And the first person we need to fall in love with is ourselves. Because you were born good enough. You were born enough. And so this striving, this making it seem like I got to do one more thing. I got to write one more book. I got to get one more degree. I got to get this. I got to lose this amount of weight. I got to marry this person. I got to make this amount of money. You are enough now. You are enough right where you are. Enough. Your being here present is all the permission that you need in order for you to exist fully, in order for you to stretch your wings and fly. You have all that you need. But it's easier said than done, I know, right? Because I hear that too. Sandra, what, but what is it that I need to do in order to just, to turn that corner so that I not only know it, but I also feel it, that I also walk in it. That becomes the question. I think so many people, a friend of mine came to hear me speak. This was years ago, before I had my first church and all of that other stuff. And he came to hear me speak. My dad came to hear me speak. And a friend of mine was in the audience. And so I get up there and, I do my normal. Just like I do here now with y'all, right? I'm doing my normal. I'm, blah, 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 whatever. I'm just, and, people were, like they always are. They were like, coming over to be talking afterwards and everything. My dad act like nothing happened, right? And there was nothing that happened. As a matter of fact, I think he asked a question like, I don't even know that he acknowledged it, because I wanted to say, at this particular time, I don't think he acknowledged it. I remember him asking me one time, like, why does anybody want to listen to you? Right? I remember him asking me that one time. But when he came to hear me, I don't think he even acknowledged anything. But my friend who was there came back and he says, "Ooh, your father was so proud of you." And I was like, dude, are you kidding? I was like, you don't know my dad. He is not proud of me. As a matter of fact, he's probably really embarrassed that I'm a woman. I'm in a pulpit. I'm up there talking. I was like, you got that twisted. And the guy was like, "Oh no, are you serious?" He was like, "Your dad was sitting there like he was so proud." And I was, hey, Walker, how are you? He was like, and I was like, you got it, whatever. But what I do know is that sometimes we are unable to say, here, let me give you this example. You know how when people are in relationships, or especially when you're younger, nobody wants to be the first one to say, "I love you." It's such a, like, what is that? Like, it's such an ego thing. We just make it seem like, oh, I can't. I want them to be the first. Or if I say it, are they going to say it back? It's all of this emotional stuff that gets caught up in there that it doesn't even feel right when we think, because people actually practice it. Like, I'm going to say, Magnum P.I. I remember watching Magnum P.I. and he did this whole thing, the guy who I think that lived with Magnum or something. "You look marvelous. He kept practicing how to say, "You look marvelous," instead of just saying it. There are people who believe that somehow to compliment or to acknowledge another then diminishes. It's like I'm taking off a pound of flesh and giving it to somebody else. And if you don't give me that flesh back, or if you don't say it in the same way or something, as if they will be diminished. if y'all, remember I'm the person um, who walks around with a posse that nobody else can see. I also walk around with blessings that y'all may not be able to see, but they piled up in here, right? And so wonder if I knew, and I'm telling y'all, that every time we give a I love you or a blessing or a compliment, that not only do you have one to give, one to give away, but by your giving away, you get others multiplied coming to you. So the moment you give something, you get something, because the cost of giving is receiving. And so if I'm getting, so why not be in a space of giving a genuine attaboy or a compliment, or saying, ooh, that moved me, or gifting somebody with, because you've received, then gifting them with whatever. I mean, it becomes a part of a process. And if we know that we are all connected, that this system by its very nature, as we give out, we get back. If we just knew that, then it seems like the walls of our own fear can come falling down. Oh my goodness. And so what I recognize in a lot of instances is people that are like, I ain't gonna say that. I'm not gonna, as if. So why not be more generous, right? If you knew that your generosity opened up the universe to be more generous with you, why not? Right? Why not? I mean, what does it take from you? Really, what does it take from you? Okay, so I get it. I remember when I was younger, I'm going to put that caveat in there. When I was younger, I used to have this idea that there was a limited amount of beauty in the world, just a limited amount. And so because there was a limited amount of beauty in the world, if a guy that, say for instance, a guy that I was interested in was looking at somebody, say for instance on TV or on, I used to think that, oh, he couldn't possibly, because this is how young people think, that there is a limited amount of beauty. And so if that person is beautiful, then I can't be beautiful too. And as we get older, we learn that that is not the truth, that there is an unlimited amount of beauty, and that all of us have something that is beautiful about us. It doesn't have to be, the same. I don't have to look like, I think so many people are beautiful, right? But I don't have to look like, who? I'm trying to think and call a name. Come on, call a name, Sandra. I don't have to actually look like, I can't think of nobody's name. I don't have to look like Beyonce in order to be beautiful, right? I can look like Sandra and be beautiful. I don't have to look like Winnie in order to be beautiful. I can look like Sandra and Winnie be beautiful. Sandra and Valia be beautiful. Sandra and you be beautiful without it negating somebody else's beauty. And so when I see people who sit there and, monitor what somebody else is thinking or monitor somebody else's eye movements, it's so sad, because we haven't gotten to the point where we can acknowledge beauty everywhere it crops up. Doggone it, I look at women just as much as a guy does, because I can honor beauty in somebody else. I don't have to want to be with them. I ain't gay. It's just, I see when I see beauty, I want to speak to beauty. Doggone it, when you acknowledge beauty, beauty does something to you. I learned that from the Celestine prophecy. When you look at something and you adore it, you honor it, you see it, then it lifts you. It gives something back to you by your doing so. I got this shirt that says, it says, "Feed me and tell me I'm pretty." It's one of those shirts they have. Some places put out doggy mommy lines or doggy owner lines, whatever, right? And so they have a shirt for the dog and a shirt for the owner. So my dog Gigi would have on a shirt that says "Feed me" or "Pet me and tell me I'm pretty," right? And mine said, "Feed me and tell me I'm pretty." And so it's like, all of a sudden now, because the shirt says it, hey, good morning, Bill. Because the shirt says it, then all of a sudden people now feel like, okay, I can come up and say, oh, I like this, or oh, I like that. But what the heck? If you find out that by simply acknowledging what is magnified in you, or it comes to you, by simply your recognition, you draw it, you're magnetizing something, you're pulling it forth, then why not give that out? How dare you withhold it? Oh my goodness. So I tell you, that's one of the reasons why y'all will hear me saying, I can acknowledge beauty when I see beauty, and it don't take nothing away from me. As a matter of fact, one of there was this woman, Terry, I used to be friends with back in college, and I remember, I'll never forget, I had experienced people. But she was one of those people who, I loved this about her. She really used to kind of, there was such a purity about her. That was just so beautiful. I loved. And I hate that however, she moved away. And I hate that the friendship wasn't one that continued. But I was out with her one night, and she said something to me like about she called me sexy. And I stopped because I wanted to understand what it was that she saw that made her call me sexy. And so we sat down and we had an entire conversation about it, because I was just really trying to understand it. What was it? Like some people think that it's something that you can paint on yourself, or a spray or something that you put on, or whatever. And it was one of those things where I had to really just sit down and be in a space where I could hear it and I could explore it. And so when I see other people who also struggle with that, I try to have the generosity of spirit that my friend Terry did, and speak to what it is that I see. And if it is that, if it's something that I think is, because sometimes it is not based on what you look like. It's not based on what you put on. It's not based on all of these things. Sometimes it is a presence, an energetic essence that just permeates who you are. It's not something that you can put on or take off. It's not something that you can turn on or turn off. But to be able to understand that, to be able to understand when you look at somebody and you see within their spirit a certain level of honor and integrity, Or you also, there are people that who you distrust automatically. And to know that there is a vibrational essence about each and every one of us that speaks much louder than this thing called a mouth does. And to be able to talk to and speak to that is a powerful thing. And so when we are being generous with our words, when we're being generous with our presence, when we are really like trying to give of ourselves, that gifting, to be able to speak to those things, I think is awesome and amazing. And I'm forever grateful to her for sharing with me. And I try my best to always be in that mode or that space where I'm willing to pour out to somebody else. I hope if you didn't get anything else from me today, that you get this same generosity and you spread that. Give. Hey, and don't forget my Cash App thing is somewhere on my page, right? But give from a space of love, of knowing that it's all connected, of knowing that as you give, you also receive. Be about that business today. I didn't see any other comments on here, so it's time for me to get off. But I love y'all. I love y'all. I adore you. I think the world of you, because, hey, I know that we are all connected. This beautiful beautiful experience of life. And I appreciate you being a part of mine and on my journey. So I'm going to get off of here. If you are watching this over YouTube, please like, subscribe, share. Subscribe and ring the bell. Okay, thank you, Walker. I appreciate that. Yeah, subscribe and ring the bell if you're on YouTube, and if you're here on Facebook, follow me. I'm here every day, really. I'm going to Saturdays, starting in March. I think just the second Saturday. I don't know, but I've got to alter my schedule for the second weekends of the month, because I'll be taking another class. Yes, because I love learning. All right, so y'all, blessings to you, and I will see you, God willing, tomorrow. All right, have an amazing day, and we'll be back. All right, so I don't see anything else. All right, bye. And I'm always saying bye before I even find the bye button. It don't say bye, but it's